and we'll get into the important part. Just a sec. Just a little sec. All right. Excellent. Well, let's go. So here I have the simulator. As you remember yesterday, we wrote an essay about a very interesting question responding to, well, high school matters, let's say. At least yeah, I would say school matters. But in tonight's class, I want to propose you a little bit more complicated topic because as you know, in this part of the exam, it's like questions can be easy, certainly. Nonetheless, they can also be a little bit technical. What do I mean by that? That once in a while in the exam, what ETS does is to present topics that when you read them a priori, it seems as if they were complex and as if they were requesting out of you to be super, technical and scientific, let's say. But when you realize that you are in this part of the exam, in the independent essay, the best manner to solve those essays or to respond to those essays is by still applying the same concept, making these essays very independent and personal. Let me show you what I mean. I have here the topic that I want to give you for this essay. Could be, for example, like let me show you in a second. Okay. Like this one, I would say. Yeah, like this one. When you read this topic, for example, you say, right, well, since a little bit threatening, as if it were requiring a lot of knowledge, but that one is not that much. I would say it's very general. Well, others over here I remember were interesting. For example, okay, doesn't matter. Well, cannot find the one that I want to give you. Anyways, so yeah, I tell you that sometimes essays are technical in the sense that, for example, look at this question that I was highlighting here. Here at the beginning. Okay, so look at this question. It says, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. Then give us specific details in your argument. This could be a question in the exam, right? That is to say, this could be a question for you to write an essay about. And that is going to be our question for tonight's practice. You're going to write down an essay responding to that question. And now you say, well, do I need to know something about environmental sciences to respond to this question? And the answer is no, you don't need to know anything. Because although, and I was telling you this, the topic seems to be threatening because it invokes, let's say, some technical terms and stuff that when you look at it, you say, well, this is very scientific or very out of line to lay people like us, if you're not, of course, studying some environmental science. But trust me, it's not the case. Trust me that when you receive this type of topic that seems to be a little bit complicated or, as I say, technical, just approach the essay in the exact same manner. Say what you think about it, okay? As far as you're informed of it, that is to say, whatever you know about it, talk about it. That is to say, if you know a little bit, just talk about that little bit you know about. If you have had some experiences with this or in your nearby house, talk about that. If you have heard something on the news about this topic, talk about that. That is to say, use the same approach. Just make it personal, make it independent, offer what you can get out of your experience, okay? It's not necessary to start quoting scientific research or something like that. Okay, just don't worry about it. It's just a normal topic. Just as I say, in the exterior, it seems as if it were difficult, but it is not actually. Okay, so that is going to be the topic for tonight's class. I'm going to read it once again. It says, explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. Then give specific details in your argument. Okay. Well, there you have it. So let us start then with
Sorry,
the
teacher.
yes.
I have a general question for
Mhm.
that task.
Yes. Tell me.
Um, yeah, when we have this kind of writing, we have
Mhm.
two options. The first one that you said that we can choose like we agree or disagree, right? But
Yes.
also it's possible that during this essay we can write but explaining why is not that option, for example, saying the bad side,
Mhm.
like I disagree with that because that points directly. I don't know
Yes.
if you can understand, or it's better to be clear and says, yeah, I agree with that point because these 2 points, and it's better or it's more clear, or use the opposite points. I don't know if it's clear that the
Mhm.
question.
Yeah, I think that you mean that, well, in this questions, you have like a two set, right, option. That is to say you go in favor of the position or you go against it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you mean, right? Like if it is better to always go in favor of the position, even if you disagree in the actual life, but maybe you say it's easier or preferable. And I say, it actually doesn't present any type of relevance. I would say that if you believe the contrary position, that is to say, going against the premise is easier to defend, or you feel more comfortable with it, go with it. But there is no like an easier side. Everything depends on how can you argue in favor or against it. Some people could say, well, personally, because I know about this topic, I'm gonna go in favor of it. But other people could say, well, given that I do not know a lot of things about this particular topic, at least a priori, it seems to me it's better to go against it. So if that's the case, well, why not to go for the negative position, right? So yeah, everything depends on the context, that is to say your own knowledge, but I wouldn't say there is a particular side that is clear or something that reviewers prefer. Reviewers simply don't care about what option you choose. They care about how you defend it. If you defend it well, that's what they value and they are going to punctuate that. But the answer itself is, as I say, it's free. It's completely independent and nobody's going to punish test takers for taking a particular view. For example, let's say it's about abortion in a very controversial topic, right? So you could say, well, maybe if I go not for the politically correct answer, people are going to punish me when they correct my exam. No, they don't care about their response. They care about how you argue. If you argue very much conspicuously, they're going to say, well, fantastic, great essay. And if you have a good grammar and orthography, great. But the answer is not the thing. It's how you respond. It's how you argue and defend it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, teacher. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. My pleasure. Very good. Great, guys. Any other question? Any other thing that I could clarify? Great. Okay, so same links, all right, that we used yesterday. Nothing different. I'm gonna assign to each of you one of them, and then you can go and just write your essays. And as we did in the last classes, we're also going to, of course, review them. Okay, so let's go with it. So listen, please, very carefully. Okay, and remember that the links, the Google documents, are just a little bit before the last messages. Sorry, like the one that I sent right now. They're just a little bit upper. Well, it says the following. So for Lucia, you get the first one, okay? Um, the first link is yours in this opportunity. Then for David, you get the second one, okay? The one that says second is yours in this case. Um, for Daniela, you get the third one, okay? The one that says third group. For Flavia, you get the fourth one, okay? Dear Flavia. You get number 4. For Andres, you get number 5. All right. Karen, you get number 6. Um, Karen Artiaga, okay, you get number 6. Rodrigo Duran, you get number 7. Okay, number 7 is yours. Jasmine, you get number 8. Okay. And finally, Karen, you get number 9. Okay, Karen Rojas, I mean, Karen Rojas, it's number 9, sorry. And yeah, and that's it pretty much. Those are your Google documents for tonight's essay. So yeah, as you know, you can just I'm gonna send you to your breakout rooms. You can start once you enter, and then at the end we're gonna come back to review your essays, okay? To see what you've done. So yeah, if there are no questions, then well, all of you can go, and I see you very soon, right? Well, great, guys. Thank you. So the first thing we're going to do right now, I'm going to take your assistance, all right? Because I know that we're going to take some time apart from our normal time together to review the essays. So I want to make sure that everybody's included in the list before we start reviewing the essays, okay? Let's listen to your name right now and take the list. And then we're going to start with the review, all right? Give me a little sec. Awesome. Let's go. Here we are. So please listen to your names, okay? So here present, our dear Lenny. Okay, what about Maya Moriel? What about Flavia Montaño?
Present.
Thank you very much, Flavia. What about Karen Dinelli?
Present, teacher.
Thank you very much, Karen. What about Lucia?
Present, teacher.
Very much, Lucia. What about Karen Silvana?
Present, teacher.
Thank you, Karen. What about Daniela Crespo?
Present, teacher.
Daniela. What about Jasmine Camila?
Present, teacher.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. What about Astrid Moriela? What about Rodrigo Romar?
Present, teacher.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo. What about Andres Uribe?
Present, teacher.
Very much. And David Uribe. It's also here.
Sorry, teacher, present.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, great. Well, now that we have finalized with that, let's start with the essays. Let's go. So, let's go with the first one. Here we have this. Let's see what we can find out. Okay. If you have to go at some point when the time is it's over, that is to say it's 8 p.m., you can go, okay? Because this time we're not gonna have a poll, so you just can leave if you listen to your review and you don't want to stay anymore. You can do it, okay? You can leave as you desire. Okay. So let's go with this essay. This is
Teacher,
Lucia.
for the writings, we need a title or just the text? It's
No, it's,
necessary now, right?
not really. No, a title is not necessary in this case. But of course, you can include it if you wish, right? But normally, in this type of essays, it is not necessary given that it's not, let's say, something to publish, right? It's more like think about it as if it were a letter, more like a letter. But yeah, you don't need to use it. Okay, great. So let's see what you wrote. It says, it has been scientifically demonstrated that carbon emissions, I guess you mean here, right? Emissions have been polluted or have polluted, right? Because have been sería like han estado, right? But have polluted, han contaminado the atmosphere. Likewise, global emergency is a world international issue for the future of every country. Accordingly, every country should be required to reduce its carbon emission at least 25% in order to save the planet now. This opinion is due to the following motives. Great, very good. Introduction. First, carbon emissions are toxic for the environment, people, and animals. Okay, here, as I told you yesterday, given that it's a three set, you also use a comma before the connector ends. Okay, the chemical composition could have negative and irreversible effects in the future. As a matter of fact, carbon emissions here, I guess, emissions affect the respiratory system in human and animals. On top of that, this important issue should be a priority for the governmental agendas. It would be mandatory if all the states around the world could implement policies or legal framework to reduce at least 25% of carbon emissions. Exemplifying, Swedish, have developed, has, right, in this case, Swedish has developed since 2010 three new public policies, right? Policies to reduce the carbon emission. Thus, people and companies are aware of and will contribute in the exercise of new proposals and solutions. Okay, good. Furthermore, reducing here, right? Reducing gerunds at least at 25% of carbon emission means that's the commitment of every society and country authority. So what does it mean? The commitment of every society and country authorities, I don't know, it's like it's high or something, or it's I don't know. Well, this is high. Nowadays, all the Earth planet is facing many environmental issues. We, the population. So notice that here, when you are saying we, the population, here you should insert a comma. Why? Because this sentence, the population, is a clarification you are making, right? As if you were specifying what people you mean by we. So whenever you're going to make a clarification on a text, it must be using commas to isolate the sentence or the word from the rest of the text. In this case, we, the population, which is your clarification, right, must be inserted within commas. And that's the same procedure for any other commentary or clarification you make in your text, okay? So we, the population, should start changing old habits into this conjunctive, into a new lifestyle. Important to take fast decisions is because otherwise the negative impacts will destroy life collective projects, okay? Subsequently, this is not fair for new generations. To illustrate, my brother is working on an environmental project to reduce the 30% of carbon emission in Cochabamba. The aim of this project is to change the mind of society and contribute thinking new green solutions in undeveloped countries. Great. To round up, I would like to say that should be mandatory for all the countries and international organizations this time here to design, right? To design new public policies, here again, policies, and legal frameworks where all the population can reduce at least 25% of carbon emissions. The climate emergency is a legal priority for all the countries around the world. Very good. This is a great essay. We'll read them, do arguments, and let's see how many words you got. In this case, you got all right, you got 327. Great. So you have matched the minimum. Fantastic. You can always increase that a little bit. Okay, great. Very good essay. So with the second group. Okay. Let's see what you guys wrote. So this is David's essay. It's known for everyone that carbon emissions are lethal of our world. Here, I guess you mean to our world, right? To our world. Okay. Soon this. It's what keeps making the glaciers melt. According to BBC, or BCC, sorry, if we keep going this fast, we may not make it until 2060. Okay. To begin with, I agree with the required reduction because this will assure a future for generations that are coming. As a matter of fact, carbon emissions in the present affect us by making the global warming go higher every day. On top of that, global warming. Here, I guess that global warming wouldn't need to be written in capital letter, right? Because this is a normal phenomenon, right? It's a problem for everyone, not just for us humans, but for animals, the same for humans. Yes, it's a substantive, but it's a general one, right? Human. But for animals and plants, they lose their natural habitat every day, okay? And by the way, you use this semicolon very appropriately because you're separating two sentences, right? This is a complete sentence by itself, and this one too is an independent sentence, and you can use semicolon to separate independent sentences. Simplifying, I've seen lots of news and videos where it shows how animals lose their home. Plus, this is making our natural resources go away. Good. Furthermore, this is not necessary to have it in capital letter. This reduction won't be that difficult to make for everyone, for every country, because it will decrease just by getting rid of all cars and the manufacture of the sprays, okay? In fact, for some specific countries, the percentage should be higher, such as China, the US, Russia, Germany, etc. This countries, I guess you mean, right? Because you talked about several countries. These countries make, right, the biggest emissions of carbon affecting all of the world and the whole environment. Plus, I would recommend to create an organization that supervises that this stipulation goes as it should. Finally, putting all this together, I completely agree with this reduction. But I think that's why I did this. Not just we are going to make our world better, but we're going to make it for our own future generations. Good. I think it's a very good essay. Very optimistic too. Let's see how many words you got. Okay. 249. Okay, we will have to work a little bit on that. 300 is the minimum. So you need to yes or yes reach that quantity, but continue practicing. You're gonna make it, trust me. Very good essay. Okay. For a group, you got, guys. All right. It's this one. It says, recently, scientists have warned the entire world about the catastrophic consequences we may suffer if global warming is not stopped. As a consequence, every country should act now to start a change. Accordingly, I totally agree that every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. This opinion is due to this motives. First, it's well known that carbon emissions are one of the principal causes for global warming. As a matter of fact, carbon dioxide, dioxide is a gas which is directly related to the greenhouse effect. This is causing the Earth to go warm and damaging the atmosphere. As a consequence, if countries start reducing their emissions, not only humanity will assure its subsistence, very good war, by the way, but the habitats of many species could be preserved. To illustrate, in the few passing years, Bolivia has suffered many fires which have destroyed the habitat of an incredible amount of species, and this phenomenon has been frequent all around the world. Great. And by the way, you use here this word very correctly because phenomena refers to a plural idea, that is to say different phenomenon, right? Because phenomenon is the singular one for phenomenon, right? But phenomena is for plural. Very good there. On top of that, we now have the relevant technology which can allow us to depend on fossil energies. In fact, if governments assure the use of renewable energies, the carbon emissions will be automatically reduced. However, there are economic interests between the governments and big transnational enterprises. It's evident that the use of fossil energies such as oil generates enormous revenues for powerful businessmen. Indeed, there are countries, particularly the poorer ones, that completely rely on oil extractions and sell to subsist. Simplifying, India refused to accept the Paris Agreement on reducing the carbon emissions globally, arguing that they first needed to take care of their own population because of poverty. This way, if countries were all required to respect the agreement, a change could be truly started. To round off, I would like to recommend implementing classes about stopping in schools. This will allow the future generations to be more conscious about this dangerous problem. Beautiful. It was a very good essay. Very good. Vocabulary too. Very good. You got 325 words. Fantastic. As I say, you can always go better than this, but nonetheless, it's absolutely fulfilling and satisfactory. Very good. Okay, let's go with number 4. Let's see what you guys got. Okay. So we have, in this case, Flavia's essay that says carbon emissions are one of the main causes of environmental pollution. And currently, these carbon emissions are increasing and contaminating more, which is why I agree that all countries reduce their carbon emissions to 25%. This opinion is due to the following motives. First, carbon emissions play an important role in the environment since they pollute the air we breathe in a very worrying way. Okay, in a very worrying way. Yes, it's fine. As a matter of fact, the textile industries are the main polluters of these emissions since they are discarded in rivers contaminating the water. Sorry. Top of that, there are many industries around the world that pollute the air every second. Simplifying, China, the US are the main polluting countries. We can get great powers with China and the US to reduce their carbon emissions. We'll be able to improve the quality of life of the next generations and at the same time improve the air we breathe. Okay. Furthermore, large industries are the worst enemy for the environment because of the environment, even though they discard alarming amounts of carbon emissions that daily harm the health of the population. In fact, your capital letter, right? Not necessary. These companies do nothing with the pollution they cause and damage to people's health. big companies like Coca-Cola should worry a little more about the environment and environmental pollution. Here, instead of this, I would recommend you a semicolon, right? Because at this point, when you think about this sentence in particular, this is independent, right? Like this sentence, big companies anti-pollution, doesn't need what is preceding it to make sense, right? So whenever you have an independent sentence like this one, better if you separate it with semicolon, as I always tell you, okay? Semicolon instead of colons. Okay, to illustrate in Brazil, here again, it's not necessary to write down capital letter after a comma, okay? Just in case. To illustrate in Brazil, there is a lot of pollution from its large industries since they produce large amounts of carbon emissions. To include reducing carbon emissions to 25% would really help environmental pollution on people's health. Plus, I guess it was just a blunder, we can get companies to reduce carbon emissions by 25%. We're going to ensure that the next generations have a better future and better life. All countries should come together to sign a treaty to achieve a 25% in reduction of carbon emissions in the long term, level affecting all the countries. And final period. Okay, it was beautiful. Very good essay. Let's see how many words. You got how many? 307. Yeah. Just what you needed. Very good. Very good essay. Okay, number 5. See what you guys got. Okay, this is who wrote this essay? Guys, number 5. Did any of you write it? Because like here in the last page it says Flavia, but I have just read Flavia's essay, or this wasn't assigned to anybody. I guess, right? Well, let's go to number 6 then.
Teacher.
Oh yes, Karen?
Yes, I listened that my number was 6, but there is another classmate here. Maybe one of get confused.
Okay, yeah, probably. Don't worry then. Let me check out who's here. There are 2 people here. Yeah, I see.
I'm sorry. I thought that I was the number 6, so I was writing right there. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, guys. Fantastic. Anyways, we have Andres essay here, and Karen too.
Right there. So yeah, that's nice. Thank you.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. So let's go with Karen's essay, and then we'll go with yours. Okay, Andres. So it says, Karen's. It has been scientifically demonstrated decades ago that our world is going through a time when all human beings should be concerned about doing our part to prolong, very good word by the way, to prolong the life of our planet for the sake of our future generations. Likewise, not a mystery that the countries that are at the top of the economic rankings are the biggest polluters. Very good. Accordingly, different investigations claim that the big industries and all transportation are the biggest factors in the contamination. Matter of fact, I agree that all countries should reduce their carbon emissions by at least 25%. To begin with, reducing carbon emissions can be a very effective way of taking care of our planet, and at the same time, we are making an outstanding change. As a matter of fact, governments should regulate all the industries with rules to produce in a clean way in order to have responsible production, like in their waste removal and applying what a circular economy means, right? According to a people here, say 4 of 5 industries do not have any type of regulations which affect in a negative way health of all the inhabitants who live 10 kilometers around. Fantastic. On top of that, this measure can change our lifestyle and at the same time strengthen our health. Okay. Simplifying the effects of the carbon emissions is as damaging as smoking cigarettes all day. Never was I more flabbergasted than that day when I perceived that in the time of the pandemic in 2020, when all industries in the world stopped working, to feel the fresh air and see the blue skies. Okay. To clear, the pandemic had uncountable bad consequences, but had been the only moment in centuries of years when our world could take a deep breath. Okay, it's a very interesting comparison that you made there. Very good. Furthermore, I think that the government in Bolivia and in other countries should eliminate the use of all transportation, which expels, by the way, another great word, carbon emissions. In fact, with this type of regulation, we would see a big reduction in air contamination and prevent respiratory diseases. In addition, they should at the same time create facilities so that people could change their cars for new ones. For instance, they could reduce the interest to buy a car through the bank. To round off, I believe that these measures could be here's transcendental, you know. Transcendent is also fine, but transcendental sounds way better. Okay, transcendental. I love that word. That's the reason why I tell you transcendental. Change in the life of us and our future generation, prolonging life and being responsible with our home. As someone said, our war is only borrowed. It's our mission to take care of it for the sake of our children. Fantastic phrase to finalize this essay with. The only thing, period, as I told you, within the quotation. Okay. Anyways, it was a great essay. All right. Let's see how many words you got. In this case, you got 433. All right. Very good. Okay, this is a very good words quantity. Congratulations. Very good. Okay. And then we have Andres' essay right here as well. So let's read it. It says, it is known that carbon emissions, here in this case, are a really important problem that the Earth is suffering for. I guess you mean that the Earth is suffering for, right? Yeah. As a matter of fact, carbon emissions have been polluted the atmosphere too much that nowadays this could be critical for the next generations. I would say that every country must reduce the carbon emission 25% for the good of the planet by giving these reasons. First, human sources of carbon emissions have been destabilized, okay? Unstabilized, isn't it? Yeah, destabilized. The environment, that's why the atmosphere is not at risk of breaking. And also, I think that this is due, here this is not necessary, capital, to human activities. The atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has been rising extensively. Likewise, deforestation, here is, right? Deforestation, because it's just one thing. One substantive is the primary cause of increased carbon concentrations in the atmosphere. Now, it's a really dangerous issue that every country must cooperate to fix and save the planet. Furthermore, we all know that a human being has been destroyed and stole everything, or excuse me, that a human being has. Okay, so this has been here, is as I said to Lucia, unnecessary, because you mean ha destruido, right? So the verb to be would be unnecessary right there. And the only thing you have to include here is has destroyed directly and stole everything from the earth or of the earth. It's fine as well. To illustrate here, doesn't make sense here. To illustrate, in my own country, I have seen with my own eyes how the people doesn't really care. How people don't really care, right? Because when you say people, we are talking about like plural, right? Persons. So in that case, you have to use people do not really care when they are polluting the environment by burning oil and abusing of the petroleum, carbon that our own planet give us. Plus, by reducing the carbon emissions in every country, we'll be able to make aware the people that we can all save the atmosphere, sorry. Indeed, by reducing 25% shouldn't be a problem and debate when the only ones who benefit from the carbon emissions are humans for decades. To conclude, I would recommend people to start thinking about our planets and how small changes like reducing 25% of the carbon emissions can make a big change, or can make big changes, sorry, in our minds. And what better, what better than, okay. And what better, okay, yes, like this. And what better, comma, and what better than to contribute to make our world better and be able to make a better world. Okay. Here, you know, for example, something that I could recommend you is notice that in this sentence, use better in different opportunities. Use better here, better, better, and better, right? So something that reviewers working for ATS value and appreciate a lot is sagaciousness. And sagaciousness is basically defined as having a lot of vocabulary, right, in mind. So instead of using the same word and repeating it, try to look for synonyms so that you can feel the same idea, but using other terms to make it more varied, right? Something like, what better, they contribute to make our word, I don't know, wondrous, whatever, right? Wondrous, and be able to make, I don't know, let's say, magnificent word, right? Just to make it, as I say, more varied. Okay. Anyways, very good. Okay, let's see how many words you got. Oh, sorry. So you got in this case you got 320 words. Okay, you have reached the minimum, so it's very well. And yes, I see you can always improve your quantity of words, right? When writing this essay is very good. Number 7, we're about to finalize. Okay, let's see, guys. So here we have, in this case, Rodrigo's essay. Countries around the world have been developing big industries and technologies. However, those big changes have already destroyed many natural spaces while people were working on them. Accordingly, carbon dioxide is one of the most critical hazards. Very good word, by the way, hazards. I agree each country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25% or more. First, the earth is getting tired because of human inventions. People do not take care of the environment, and politician countries this is weird, but okay, and politicians, this country is necessary, and politicians continue leaving industries to cut trees, bowl seas, and pollute with carbon emissions. According to applicable hearsay, those emissions cause a lot of damage. Air is being polluted by carbon dioxide, while humans, plants, and animals are breathing this air. Breathing this air causes many health problems such as breathing and hair problems for kids and especially adults. Come to find China is one of the most powerful countries with industries. They have a lot of issues on people's lives. They do not have enough space for farming and plants, and all emissions they produce affect their citizens and disguises not as well as ours. Very good. Further, safe environmental groups have been asking for their authorities to take care of Earth and stop polluting this with carbon dioxide. More and more, we are getting in a difficult situation. Another big problem that carbon dioxide produces is global warming. They're warming, right? Not warning, warming, the calentamiento, right? This could be one of the biggest disasters around the world, affecting every living being. There are many countries that have agreed to reduce carbon emissions, such as North Korea, with 75%, Ukraine, and Moldova. Okay, in order to prevent and stop global warming dangers. To round up, I would like to say that we are on time to protect the environment and reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Plus, the Earth needs more safe air for trees and animals. Countries must agree to reduce its tremendous danger. If countries are able to reduce more than 25%, it will be grateful and magnificent for everybody. Great, very good essay. Very well sustained too. Let's see how many words you got. So in this case, you have 333. Very good. Okay. Very good essay. Okay. Number 8. We're going to end this up. All right. It says, Jasmine's essay. It has been scientifically demonstrated decades ago that pollution would bring with it many environmental problems. Likewise, air pollution has increased in recent years due to the growth of different countries. Accordingly, very important, your comma, right? That every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. This opinion is to these motives. First, I think that each of us realized that nowadays there are more diseases which affect our lungs. As a matter of fact, when people live near factories or venues, which always have traffic, they breathe all the air pollution, and it is not beneficial for their body and health. Namely, people who are over the age of 50 suffer from respiratory diseases. According to political hearsay, the inhalation of carbon emissions is very harmful to our lungs. On top of that, there are children, teenagers, and adults who have asthma. Simplifying, I heard of that in the countries such as the US or China, there are people who have asthma, and it is due to these countries having a lot of industries which generate carbon emissions. There was a more flabbergasted on that day. One of my teachers showed me images of China because all the sky was gray due to the air pollution. Moreover, I remember that someone told me that people who live in China are not able to see the sun. Furthermore, carbon emissions can generate acid rain. In fact, this is to be one of the more worrisome effects of air pollution that we have to consider, especially in our countries such as China or Japan, where there are a lot of factories which generate that pollution. Namely, acid rain is very harmful to us, the environment, and animals. Here, coma, right? And animals. To illustrate, there are a lot of documentaries which show this kind of problem due to pollution. Actually, many scientists and experts are very worried because every year air pollution increases and the authorities of each country do not do anything in order to reduce or control, okay, or control this pollution. Plus, every year some woods are burned out, and all of us know how important trees are to purify, very good word by the way, the air. Indeed, we can notice that there are a lot of institutions or groups which promote planting more trees, but these do not have enough support from government. Round up, I'd like to say that it is advisable that we have the opportunity to plant a tree, we do it. This way, they can help here this way, COMA, right? Because it's connector. They can help reduce carbon emissions, but also each government should penalize companies which generate a lot of carbon emissions. Great, fantastic, I think. And you got, how many words? You got 435 words. Okay, very good essay, very long and very much orthographically savvy. Very good. It was a great essay. Okay, and we have the last one. Let's see whose essay this one is. This is Karen Rojas' essay. It says, has been demonstrated decades ago that all the countries around the world must reduce their carbon emissions, especially the big ones that have a big quantity of pollution. I like that you're using this resource. It's very good. Dashes, right? Fantastic. Because of the huge risk that involves the environment. As a matter of fact, reducing carbon emissions by at least 25% would be one of many ideas to help the planet and life. This opinion is due to the following motives. First, reducing carbon emissions can help to avoid global warming. In fact, we can protect the ozone layer, and if we protect it, we can protect ourselves against the radiation. Nowadays, the radiation increases a huge quantity and generates many illnesses like skin cancer. This illness could affect everyone. To illustrate, my mother's friend had skin cancer. She always walked after lunch, even though the sun was shining strong. She used strongly here, okay, instead of strong, shining strongly. She used sunscreen, but it was not enough. My point is that she had this problem because of radiation, and her mother always did the same when she was young, but she never had this type of problem in her skin. So it is important to look at a way to reduce their carbon emissions, not only the manufacturing companies or other type of company, also a common person like us. We need to try to search solutions to avoid the contamination. Furthermore, all life of the planet needs our help, and if we reduce a percentage of carbon emissions, we will help the wildlife, the environment, and also help us to have a better life. According to many investigations, by 2050, the carbon emissions will be will destroy. Okay, so will destroy. It's with Y. Okay, will destroy the half of the ozone layer. The air in many countries will be not apt to breathe. The levels of radiation will be so high that it will generate skin burns, and it will not be apt to breathe. The levels of radiation will be so high that it will generate skin burns and many other problems. I know that some countries are doing something now to reduce their carbon emissions. For example, in Japan, the government implements a law to reduce emissions for companies and common citizens. The law helps companies and gives economic help to help them to apply or to implement new technology to reduce carbon emissions. Great. Finally, it is important to remember that we need to take care of the place where we live. If we reduce the carbon emissions, we will help the planet, life, and we could keep a better life for us and the future generations. Beautiful. It was a great essay. See how many words you got. And this will be the last one, right? Or is there any other essay that I have not checked out, dear students? Let's see. You got 408 words. Okay, fantastic. As I say, something higher than 400 is always remarkable. So very good essay. Okay. So great. I think that we are done, right? Or is there any other essay that I have not corrected? All right. Okay. Well, so thank you very much, guys, for staying until the end. I'm going to be seeing you next time, and have a wonderful weekend. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Thank you.